Hello, and welcome. Today's topic will be true life murders that inspired movies. Let us begin. Number 1. The Parker Huell murder case that inspired Heavenly Creatures. Heavenly Creatures, starring Kate Winslet, is based on a story of Pauline Parker and Julia Huell, 15-year-old best friends living in New Zealand in 1954. The girls had a close but yet obsessive friendship and spent all of their time writing stories and playing games. Pauline resented her mother, Honora, and one afternoon she and Juliet lured Honora into the park where they bludgeoned her to death with a rock. The girls were released from prison after 5.5 years, and Juliet eventually moved to the UK, going on to become a successful crime writer, Anne Perry. Number 2. The Gainesville Ripper Killings, inspired by Scream. Scream is a very popular franchise that is still making movies to this day, with their newest movie coming out in 2022. In Scream, a series of high school students are gruesomely murdered by a knifed killer known as Ghostface. In real life, Danny Rolling was the Gainesville Ripper, who murdered 5 students in 4 days in Florida in 1990. During the murder spree, terrified students began sleeping together in groups to protect themselves against the killer, later to find out that it was Danny Rolling. Number 3. The Winneville Chicken Coop murders that inspired Changeling. The movie starring Angelina Jolie was based on a true abduction and killings of up to 20 young boys in California in the 1920s. 9-year-old Walter Collins went missing on March 10, 1928. In August, police picked up the boy, who claimed that he was Walter Collins. His mother, Christine, said it wasn't her son, but police made her take him home. She was later consigned to a psychiatric ward after continuing to insist the police that they had the wrong boy. Sarah Louise Northcott eventually confessed that she had been the one that killed Walter Collins. She dealt him a fatal blow with an axe, she said, and then buried him near the chicken coop. She was sentenced to life in prison for his murder. Meanwhile, Gordon Stewart Northcott was found guilty in 1929 of February for the killings of the Winslow brothers and one other unnamed victim. He was sentenced to death and then hung on October 2nd, 1930. And the knowledge of the true fate of the Walter Collins may have died with him. To this day, nobody knows what really happened to Walter Collins. Though Sarah Northcott was convicted of his murder, police never found any real evidence, and the boy had never even been on the ranch. Also featured in American Horror Story Hotel. Number 4. The Teacup Prisoner that inspired the Young Prisoner's Handbook. Graham Young, the Teacup Prisoner, was just 14 when he started mixing his own poisons and testing them on his family, pets, and school friends. He served his family poisoned cups of tea, killing his stepmother Molly in 1962. He was arrested and then locked up, but then released 9 years later. His second wave of poisonings occurred in 1971, when Young worked at a photographic company in the English village of Bovingdon. Staff began to fall ill with vomit, cramps, diarrhea, and numbing hands. At first they had thought that it was food poisoning and named it the Bovingdon bug, but then people's hair started to fall out, and 2 men died. Young was arrested again and died in prison in 1990 at the age of 42. Number 5. The Backpack Murders, inspired Wolf Creek. The horror movie Wolf Creek was inspired by the terrifying true story from Australia between 1992 and 93. The bodies of 7 young backpackers were found hidden under ferns and sticks in the Balengo State Forest. They had variously been shot, stabbed, mutilated, and strangled. The killer was later revealed to be 50-year-old road worker Ivan Milland. He had picked them up as hitchhikers, then taken them to a forest to kill them. In 2012, Ivan Millet's great-nephew, Matthew Millet, 19 years old, took part in a copycat killing, murdering a 17-year-old boy with an axe in the Belengo State Forest. Number 6. Aileen Wuornos murders. Inspired monster. Monster tells a story of Aileen Wuornos, a prostitute from Daytona Beach, Florida, who lured 7 middle-aged businessmen into the woods and shot them all. At first, Wuornos claimed that she'd been acting in self-defense and that the men had tried to rape and assault her, but she later changed the story, saying, "I've hated humans for a long time. I am a serial killer. I killed in cold blood. Real nasty." She was executed in 2002. Number 7. The Zodiac inspired Zodiac. Zodiac tells the story of the hunt for the Zodiac killer, a real-life murderer who preyed on young couples in their cars in California during the 60s and 70s. The killer sent taunting letters to the police, signed Z, which supposedly contained a code which would reveal the killer's identity if cracked. The killer claimed to have murdered 37 people and has never been caught. Number 8. The Starkweather Spree Killings inspired Terrence Malick's Badlands and Peter Jackson's The Frighteners. The character Kit in Badlands was inspired by the real-life spree killer Charles Starkweather, 19, who murdered 11 people in Nebraska with his girlfriend, Carol, 14. Charles was a troubled young man, at war with his parents over his love life. He dyed his ginger hair black using shoe polish and wore distinctive black and white cowboy boots. Starkweather murdered his girlfriend's family, including her 2-year-old sister, as part of the spree. His other victims included 21-year-old gas station attendant, a traveling salesman, and a teen couple. Charles Starkweather was executed by the electric chair in 1959. Carol Ann was released from prison in 1976 and became a janitor at the hospital in Michigan. Director Peter Jackson became fascinated by the perverse relationship between Charles and Carol Ann, and it inspired his comedy horror, The Frighteners. Number 9. The Pied Piper of Tuscan inspired Smooth Talk. Smooth Talk is based off of a murder committed by Charles Smitty Schmidt in Tuscan, Arizona in the 60s. Smitty was charismatic and popular 23-year-old who wore crazy makeup, threw parties, and had girls falling at his feet. When he began boasting to people about murdering girls, and even showed some friends their bodies that they buried in the desert, no one spoke out because Smitty was too powerful and popular. It turned out that he had murdered 3 girls, 15-year-old Aileen Rowe and 17-year-old Gretchen Fritz, as well as their little sister, Wendy, 13. Schmidt was found guilty for the murder and imprisoned. He was stabbed to death by a fellow prisoner in 1975. Number 10. The DeFeo family murders inspired the Amityville Horror. The haunted house in the Amityville Horror is based on the house of Ronald DeFeo Jr., a 23-year-old from Amityville, Long Island, who murdered 6 members of his family: his mother, father, younger brothers, and younger sisters. The family were shot to death in their beds at 3 a.m., after which Ronald went to the local bar and asked for help. A weird twist to the story is that every family member was found lying dead on their stomach in bed, and it never has been explained why the first gunshot didn't alert the rest of the family so that they could all try to escape. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want more of these types of videos, make sure to let me know down in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Turn on those post notifications so you get the videos instantly when they come out. All of my socials are in the links in the description. And if you would like to submit a story, make sure to send it to my email. That's also in the description. Other than that, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one.